What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Kyle at RR Buildings, and we got the start of a new barn door project. We got some clients that have been following us, and they want a very well-built, efficient, and hopefully a very low-maintenance home. So we're going to be building them a post-frame home here, and this is a brand new site. There's nothing here. In fact, we're going to get it laid out today, so let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing that we have to do is they do have, the city here has an easement for a tile, and we need to establish 7.5 feet off of that easement is where we're going to start our building. Now, our client already had everything marked out. You can see flags and stuff everywhere, and he has a preliminary spot where we're going to start this build, but I could have the best customers in the world. We still want to, we want to double check everything. So, Greg, you've already got a line over here? Yep. Okay, let's go ahead and pull off back here and just get an idea where this tile is at. So we've got a string line here established. This is done by a surveyor. And what we need to do is basically we're gonna go 8 feet on the other side of this tile line. And that is so if there's ever an issue with this tile in the future, it's obviously plenty of room for our, yeah, why don't you go to that stake first and give me a 40 feet back, 48 feet. So we're gonna find the back of the house because that's where it'll be the closest. Right there, Greg, right off that mark. Yeah, that guy. So 48 feet is right here, Greg. So now I'm gonna stand here and you come over here and we're gonna get 8 feet past this tile. And that is so if there's ever an issue, the city can come through and they won't be, you know, running into my client's house. They got plenty of room for easement. So we're roughly 32, so we're gonna go 40 feet, Greg. So 40 feet up there, that'll give us 8 feet off of this tile line. Sound good? Okay, so now we're gonna come all the way back up to the front, and we're gonna move that string line, Greg, off the front. We'll get a string up on the front up here. Yep. Actually, let's see where he's at. Let's see where he's at. My guy's at 40 feet. Hey, he's at 40 feet exactly. Yeah, all right. Luckily, my client's still here, so we confirmed we're actually gonna move it another 4 feet because it's a little tight, 8 feet, and they're planning on putting like a 4-foot sidewalk around the building, or the house, the garage. So now that we know what we're gonna do, we're gonna go 40 feet off of this corner. So now we're gonna take this string line and go across the front so we know exactly what is square, because we don't want our house sitting all weird. So you can kind of see we're using all these surveyor lines, and we could have had a surveyor probably give us all the pins, but honestly, I like to do it. So, you know, don't come in my comments and say, why don't you just have them pin all the 4 corners and be done with it? Well, as you can see, the original idea was 8 feet, and we've already changed that. So if I would have had the surveyor go 8 feet off of this easement, then we would have been moving it anyway, you know? Sometimes you just gotta be out in real life. So Greg's getting this line established, and we know exactly where we're gonna start this. So we'll get a couple pins, we'll get some squares, and get some corners marked. All right, so now we know that we're gonna be 44 feet off of this corner. So I'm gonna get myself some flags. Come on. All right, 44 feet, Greg. You good? Yeah. All right. This is just for visual for now. We got a little bit of firm ground. It's gotten cold now. 44 plus 92, 136. You stay there. You stay there. Oh, yeah, okay. 44? Yeah. Well, hey, in that case, I'm going to go ahead and wind this up. You hold me at 0. Okay. Yeah. Why do math? Let's make it simple on us. The whole house is going to be a, you got it? It's a 32 by 56 home, and it's gonna have a 36 by 48 foot garage. It's gonna be a nice, I think, simple home, very easy for us to make energy efficient. And wow, this is a lot further than I thought. I'm coming out here 92 feet. I will probably be putting the plan for this home up on my site too, guys. So take a look at that. I'll put a link down below because I think this type of build, this house, is super cost effective. Like, you won't be able to build a home. This will be a 3-bedroom home, 3-bathroom home. It's gonna be really nice for my clients and just about really any small family out there that wants something. Okay, so we've got the front line established on the surveyed line. So this is where the front easement of my client's property is. And now what we're gonna do is, I always like to look at big boxes, and this is basically a big box, but then there's a bunch of inside corners. We got porches, all that other stuff. But let's go ahead and get our 4 corners of the big box, which is 48 by 92. And the way we're gonna do that is we've got 2 pin marks right here for the front line, and it's gonna be 25 feet off of this front line is where the house is gonna start, the garage actually. So we've got a 48-foot box plus 25. So 73 feet is the back corner. So I'm just gonna go 73 feet rise, and I'm gonna do 92 feet run. That means 117.5 and 5/16. So basically we're just gonna use these front 2 pins, and we're gonna get 2 square lines. We're gonna use diagonals to get the back 2 marks. That'll give us the 4 corners, and then from there we can just start dividing it up into our small squares. And here's what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lay a little graphic over this right here to give you an idea exactly what the house plan looks like so that this makes sense. So what we always like to do is just take a 60-penny nail. We're gonna drive that in, and there, now we can pull this tape and keep it nice and taut. So Greg, go ahead and take this to that back corner and just eyeball it, just get it close, and then I'm gonna hold this here. I should have given you a 60-penny for that one. Okay. Always important, use a flag or paint and mark this nail, because you'll be like, oh yeah, I know where that nail is, I'll remember it. Never fails, easy to miss. Okay, so Greg is going back with our diagonal, and we're going 117, 5 and 5/16. And I'm gonna basically come off the front, my 73 foot, and that'll give us the exact, Greg, you wanna grab those flags, sorry.
Where are they at?
Right on the front line. So I'm looking for 73 right here, and 117, 5 and 5/16. 73.
About where I laid it, right?
What's that?
About where I laid it.
It's not really, but that's okay. Okay, right there. We're in this back corner. Yep. All right, now remember, we're just doing layout for the excavator to come in and get this dug up. So if we're off a 1/4 of an inch, it's not gonna be a big deal. But Greg, I'll let you take one of these, and I'll meet you at the other corner. Okay, 73, 117, 5,
5/16.
5/16. There. Make sure it's straight. And boom. Okay. This ground's a little bit hard, huh?
Mm-hmm. I noticed that.
It's just about a 1/4 inch. I mean, it's not much. Okay. So now we have the big square. We know we're 25 feet off the front. These are now the back corners that we will use. And now what we can do, Greg, is you got 20s or 60s?
Yep.
Let's put a couple 60s on these corners. And then we will use these now to get the front of the house established.
So, do we have multiple corners that we got to do?
Yeah, we got so we've got the back porch, which is all in this line. Mm-hmm. And we're gonna mark out the house walls, and then we'll also mark out the porch walls. We've got a back porch and we've got a front porch.
Gotcha.
All right. So we're gonna undo these tapes off the front, and now we will use the backs as our quote unquote set points, okay? I got the math, dude. I mean, we've already done it. It's 117. Oh no, I gotta redo the math.
You gotta redo it.
Gotta redo the math. So now we're gonna be 48 by 92. 48 foot, 92 foot, 103, 9 1/4. Okay. So there's 48. Greg's gonna come at me, and this will establish the front of the garage. And once we get this big square, then we can divvy up where the walls for the house are, the walls for the porch are, because they're all gonna be different.
This is the other
103.
right? Front of the garage.
This is the front of the garage. 103, 9 1/4. Close enough. Okay, so there's one corner, Greg. Grab that tape. Let's go to the other one. That's good enough. All right. So, Greg, now that we have this line, you're going to come back to 40 foot. Make sure this is nice and straight. 40 foot, go ahead and set that at 40 foot.
The ground is kind of frozen.
Yeah. So we've got an 8 foot offset. So the house is going to be back 8 feet from the garage. We're going to have this nice porch that's going to gable out. So what we're doing is now, Greg, come back here and put one at 8 foot.
Aha.
So we've got a 32 foot wide house dying into a 48 foot deep garage, 8 foot on front and back. So there's going to be porches on the front and the back. So we should have done this over there. I didn't really think about it. We'll have to move the tapes to the front anyway, because I need to mark out where the garage stops and it goes back into the house. 1 second, Greg, let me snug this up. I think it's fine. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and
Come on, get.
pull this tape measure, Greg, to this corner, grab another one, and we'll set it at 36 on the back line. So we know where the back of the garage is. We should have done this. Oh, we couldn't yet. Not until we moved the tapes.
Right.
So go ahead and go put one at 36.
36. Tighten her up.
It's good.
Is it?
Yeah, right there, 36.
Okay.
Okay? Now go down there and move me to the front, and we'll do one at 36 in the front.
Yeah.
36. Come on, right here. All right, Greg. Now we need to go between these lines, and we'll mark 8 foot off of that. And then we got to come out here. Actually, let's go ahead and do this first. Let's get this front porch marked. 15 foot will be the start from this corner, will be the start of the porch, and then we're 16 foot from there. Let's see. 92 minus 15, so 77. Go ahead and put one at 77. And 61.
77 and 61.
Yep. Take that end, grab 2 flags,
Yes.
and you got a 60 or no?
I got 160.
You think you'll be able to get it in back there?
Yeah.
So you're gonna do the same thing. Go ahead and mark 8, 8 and 30, 8 and 40. Okay, so now this is gonna mark, this is the edge of the garage. So Greg is gonna mark in 8 foot from the back and then 8 foot from the front, and that'll establish where our inside corners for our foundation wall are. Okay, so now Greg, you got one more 60? I do. I'm here for you, buddy. So here's what we'll do here. Actually, let's go from down there. Take your tape end, and I'll meet you down there. That way we're coming off of that 15 feet. Okay, last thing we got to do is establish where the front of the porch wall is, and then that should give us all of our corners that we can start marking some paint out. Okay, so Greg, you got that hook, you're gonna go 15, 15, and then 31. Go ahead and, you can take that corner now, Greg. And pull the 60 penny out. Okay, so that is all the corners of this, basically a big square with some rectangles, and it's a big rectangle, sorry. I know someone's gonna correct me, but all these different little squares and rectangles inside of that. It all started with getting the big picture first. Once you have your big picture corners, you just start breaking it down. Get the calculator app on your phone, makes it very simple. So no 3, 4, 5 stuff, guys. That's old school. So now let's go ahead and pull these tapes, Greg. I'll get the paint out and we'll get some paint marks on the ground, and then we're out of here. That was easy. Oh no, sorry. We still have to do elevation, guys. We need to get our elevation established so that the concrete guys and the excavator know how deep to dig and how far to come up with our foundation wall. We gotta roll these tapes up. And also gonna pull 60 pennies because I don't want them getting messed with, dug, moved around, and then I run over one with my truck or trailer or equipment. What the heck? These I probably also need to remove, but I don't know if I'm gonna. Oh yeah. I don't want to get anybody confused. That was the client's stakes that he had laid out. All right, so now that we have all of our corners established, I'm just gonna take some marking paint, and I wish I had my nice roller so I didn't have to bend over. I'm getting older, but we're just gonna join the lines. Hopefully this doesn't freeze up on me. I wish I had my walker. Ooh, that line ain't that straight. We should have left the string up, Greg. So I could have followed the string line. I think the excavator will get it, you know? Yeah. I think when an excavator takes 4 feet out, it's gonna be just fine. Gotta focus, gotta zone in, gotta make these lines somewhat straight. Oh yeah. Okay, so this is porch. Should have kept going. I wish I had my freaking walker. Yeah. Okay, I keep going to that corner. That's not a bad line though. It's not bad. It's right here, dude. It's my quads and the hammies. The pain is real.
You started a little long.
That's not
Good
bad.
enough for
Yeah. Here, yeah, I want you to experience what I experienced. Fill it in if you want. Whew, that was easy. Nice. Get low to the ground, buddy, low to the ground. So we've got all of our perimeters established. Now that's where, why am I breathing hard? This is the large muscle group like this, just walking around. I can feel it. You guys, we got all this perimeter done. We got the porches marked. So now someone can come in, our excavator, and he knows where to dig, okay? Now he's probably gonna maybe make some marks because I don't know what the concrete guy is gonna exactly want for his overdig. Usually a 4-foot trench to set forms and get footings. So he'll probably go 2 feet out of this and do his thing, but this is the layout. So you guys are probably curious, like, Kyle, give us a little bit of an insight into the other things that went on in this process to get to the point that we're at right now where we can start building. So let's go and talk about that for a little bit. So some of the things that, you know, are even layout here, because this is like the beginning of our job on site, but I do a lot of stuff in the background, and that is, you know, meeting with clients, obviously, meeting with the designer, going over the plan. Specifically with this one, this client brought me a plan that they liked, something that, you know, was, hey, this is our napkin drawing, and my job as the builder is to go through it and see, okay, this makes sense, this doesn't make sense, let's talk about why you did this, and is this important? Because at the end of the day, what I'm trying to do is make it as efficient, affordable, I guess good quality. So I'm thinking about the way the design goes together, you know, where my post spacings are, the way fascias tie in and roof lines come together, because we're the ones that have to build it. So we understand kind of how that all goes together. And the client's goal is to get what they think they want in the end visually, and also maybe they followed us, they've seen some stuff and they're like, hey, we want a high efficiency, you know, well-built home. And how do we get to that? So that's what I've been doing in the background, is meeting with my designer, meeting with the clients, going over that sort of stuff. I always have my client pull permits, so we don't try to GC the job. I do obviously act as a GC in a sense, because I'm coordinating subcontractors, I'm coordinating, you know, getting materials delivered. We're also self-performing all of this work. So it's kind of unique, I guess, because not every contractor builds homes that way. A lot are just GCs. They're out there just coordinating, project managing, not actually wearing the tool belts. They're not out here laying out the site. So the client has been busy getting the permits pulled with the county. They've done some septic drilling back there, so there'll be a septic here. Electrical is going to get moved, so all that sort of stuff I don't really handle. I just coordinate with my client to make sure it all goes together and that everybody's happy. Other than that, really what we've been doing is, you know, selections, window selections, siding selections, what kind of interior trim are you going to have, you know, all that sort of stuff. But I don't really know what you guys are after from like a pre-build information. So if you guys have questions, I mean, this is the first video of this series. I can maybe answer some of that stuff as we go along in the build. So definitely drop that stuff down below in the comments if you're curious. This is not a finance job, so there's not going to be banks involved, which I know a lot of people are always concerned about banks and barn doors and how does that work. Most banks are coming around to it. The one thing I will say seems to be pretty standard is nobody wants to do wood in the ground. So this will be a full foundation, and we're using Midwest Permacolumn brackets. Those are ICC rated for a foundation system, so you can get your loans if you need your government loans, your Fannie Mae or your Freddie Mac or whatever, traditional mortgages, and you should be able to pull a construction loan for this type of work. The thing that I would say is do not go into your bank. Do not talk to your banker and say, I'm building a barn and I'm going to live in it. Okay, that's not what you're doing. This is a home. We're just utilizing post-frame construction for the skeleton. That's all it is. The interior workings of this are going to be post-frame. It's still going to be a home. It's still going to be insulated. Still going to have drywall. We're not going to be doing a metal skin on the outside. So by all means, it's a house that we're building. We're just utilizing post-frame. So that is a key thing when you go talk to the lenders. You don't even tell them you're building a barn dough. You just tell them, I'm building a house. Here's the plan. Let them look at it. If they got questions, you say, yeah, it's a post frame. It's pre-engineered. It's all good. So use that. But hey, before we get out of here, we also need to establish elevation, something I forgot about till just now, because when they come in and start digging, they need to know, okay, where is the top of my wall? Where do I need to dig down to so that we can do our frost walls? And what we've got is Greg has already set up a laser. And in talking with my client, the road out here is what we're going to use to establish our grade. So this is where the driveway is, right? They'll drive in here, and nobody wants to drive downhill. It's not a great idea. We need to be either level or somewhat at a nice slope so that water runs away. Now, I don't know, Greg, what is your guess? From here to the house, what's the elevation drop?
Well,
I'm saying 28 inches.
28 inches, you think?
From here to out there. What do you think? Now you're going to guess something that you weren't going to guess because I already gave you my guess first. So we've got the laser set up. Let's do this. Okay. So we're just going to go in the middle of the driveway here. Okay. You might have to turn that a little bit, buddy. Go ahead and turn that a little bit. Let it re-level. Good?
Just looking a little bit.
So we're at 3 foot, okay? So we're gonna come back here. Now we want to be the top, or our driveway, we want to be minimally at 3 foot. I could be off. I could be off here. We'll see.
Yeah, I think you overshot it.
Wow. Doesn't fall nearly as much as I thought. That's awesome though, that's good.
About 14 inches.
So we are 20, well, I don't know what we are, Greg.
Well, you were at 3 foot.
No. What is our, we're gonna put a slope on this up.
Oh, you said 1%, so
Yeah.
I don't know what the...
What is this? Here.
25 feet?
Yep, 25 feet plus, was this 15?
I think that's 15, yes.
It's like 17 feet, so 42 feet. So that's 8 inches roughly at 1%, which I don't want to be perfectly level, but we also don't need a ton of slope, and we're trying to not get too high up out of the ground. So I'd say 8 inches is a good start.
I like that.
Yeah, so what we have to consider is the top of the wall is not 8 inches. That's the approach into the garage. The garage is gonna be another, usually I do 7 inches below, and that's because a nice comfortable step into your home would be a traditional like 7¼ inch step. So we're actually going to be 8 inches plus 7. So let's say 15 inches from there to the top of our wall. So what we need to do is, we were at 3 foot to our laser, right? We're gonna subtract 15 inches from 36. It's gonna be 21 inches. And Greg, you got a stake? So we're gonna need to give ourselves a forever benchmark, okay? And this is always a good idea because we don't wanna do anything that, for elevation wise, that could get moved. We wanna be able to utilize this like all the time. So Greg, let's just keep it out of the way a little bit. You know what, we're gonna have to do it over here though, ain't we? Because of this. Let's just do it. Let's do it kind of off to the side here. Just go ahead and put it right here, okay? Okay, so go ahead and start driving that in about right in there, Greg, and we'll get this set for, and so the goal here is that when a contractor comes in, he can set up his laser and go right on the top of this pin, and that will be his top of wall.
There we go.
Yeah, buddy, get through it. And it might, it might move a little bit, but until the house is there.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Move your laser.
Okay, hold up. Go ahead and go down about another 1/2 inch. Go down a little bit more. 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 Okay, perfect.
Yeah, not more.
All right, so this, I'm gonna mark around this and I'll put grade here. That way I can let my contractor know, hey, there's a pin over here and that is top of wall. So I am now going to double check everything. I'm going to reevaluate everything, because when I do this and I'm talking to you guys, I'm trying to conceptualize all the things that are going on in my head and doing it out here and doing the math, but we don't get multiple chances at this, because once things start going, you're headed down a path, and rework is never good. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do all my checks. I recommend anybody to do that, because this is the most important stage of the build, is the layout, the elevation, getting things right to set yourself up for a nice, successful build. So that's what I'm gonna do. What I want you guys to do is hit that subscribe button, because you're gonna wanna follow along what I consider the most economical, energy efficient, quiet, sturdy, well-built home for the buck. Like the best bang for the buck you could possibly do. That's what we're gonna do right here. And for people getting into their forever homes, looking to grow old in it, having everything on one story, easy access, good low maintenance, low cost energy bills, this build is that. So if that interests you, hit the subscribe button and drop me a comment down below for the things you wanna know about during this build, and I will do my best to share them with you. So that's the end of this video. I'm gonna go around and do all my double checks, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.